gotta have the right fucking mindset with everything in life. If you take everything personal, you'll never grow. Everybody always talk about you need a city job. A city job is so secure. You ain't gonna, like, you'll be set if you have a city job. And this is how I just knew by this time, my second or third city job, this was my second city job. And I just knew, like, 9 to 5 just wasn't for me. This was when I knew. It was when I became a correction officer. I became a correction officer because I was a single mom at the time. And I couldn't figure out how to make ends meet. Like, I was basically living check to check, and if I had to plan to go on vacation, I had to plan a year in advance. And that might sound like the norm, but I was, in my opinion, I felt like I was struggling, even though, like, I was making ends meet, and like, I was living way below my means. And that's kind of like how I feel you have to be in order to make ends meet. But, like, for me, it just felt, and I mean, to the outside, it probably looked like I was doing it. I was doing, the most. I was living it. I was doing the American dream, I guess. I don't know. But for me, how I felt on the inside, it just wasn't for me. I used to go to work. I was a correction officer on Rikers. I used to go to work every day when I first got there. We were the largest group that, I don't know. They used to tell us this. I don't know if it was true or not, but we were the largest group that graduated into the academy. I went into C73. And I really enjoyed working there with, like, my coworkers and stuff. Like, the ones that came out with me, I had a great time. It was the old heads that used to give me problems. And y'all know who y'all are. But I'm not even mad about the problems that they used to give me. But I just want y'all to know, like, y'all made our lives a living hell for no reason, truthfully. Because we already signed up for the job. And we already knew what we was getting into. So, like, to make our lives a living hell was really for no reason. Like, y'all could have just taught us what we needed to be taught, trained us on post and sent us on our way. But no, a lot of them, not all of them, the ones that know who they are, they put us through hell. I mean, it's kind of like that big brother kind of syndrome. Like, you get to know somebody and then they show you who they really are, and then y'all become cool after that. But I just knew that the 9 to 5 wasn't for me. When I would go into work every day and I would leave in tears. Like, there's times that people at corrections don't know, but I used to sit in front of my house in my car after doing two shifts, 2 tours, and just cry. The fucking captains, man, they were like, Jesus Christ. I mean, one of them I love now. Like, we cool on Facebook and stuff. But I used, like, all right, so I used to work, my first tour was what, 5 to 1? So the tours were 5 to 1. These were the schedules that you could work. 5 to 1, and then 1 to 9, and then 9 to 5, and then it repeats. And that's one like, tour that you could work. And then there's another rotating the wheel where you change every week. Like, it's a lot of tours that you can work, but that was my tour. So if I worked 5 to 1 and I got stuck mean you doing overtime, whether you want it or not. It basically means what it says. You're stuck. You can't go nowhere. And when you're stuck on the island, you're literally stuck. Like, there's nobody coming in, there's nobody coming out. It's one bridge. You can get in on that bridge and you can get out on that bridge, or you leave in a boat or in a body bag. There's no other way for you to leave. So I knew and here's the thing, just stay to the end. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of gems in this video where if you're unsure about where you're going to go in life, or like what your position is supposed to be, like, just watch this till the end and you'll understand exactly what I was saying. Like, my father used to tell me all the time, like, get a city job, these are the job for you. And I truly believed it in my heart. So, like, when I would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make it for my 5 o'clock, because roll call was 5 o'clock, not 5:01, not 5:02, 5 on the dot, 4:59 and some seconds. That door is locked. If you're not standing at attention, standing on line, like in roll call, you're late and you will get written up for that. So I will go to work 5 to 1, and then I'd come down. Sometimes I don't get a lunch. Majority of the time, you don't get a lunch break. You got to eat either on your post if you brought food. If you didn't bring food, sorry. And then I would come down after my 5 to 1 working around inmates. And of course, people always ask me this, were you working in the women's jail? Are you fucking stupid? Like, how many men versus women are there in jail? It's way more men. So the chances that majority of the women and majority of the officers are women. So if you think that majority of the officers is only working with women, there would be criminals running all through all your states, because majority of the damn jails is filled with men, period. So I'm working my tour 5 to 1. I come downstairs from my housing area, and I go, now when you leave 5 to 1, when you leave your tour, it's not like you can come downstairs and you're like, oh, I'm just walking out the door. No, you gotta wait to see if you're stuck. You gotta check in with your captain. It's kind of like a regular 9 to 5. Like you finish your work for the day, and now you gotta go check with your supervisor to make sure like everything is done and you don't have anything else to do. It's the same thing on the island, but when you get downstairs and you stand in front of the captain after the 1 o'clock roll call, you got to find out if you're stuck. And what that means is somebody else didn't come in on the 1 to 9 tour, and you have to fill a hole. What they gonna do? Tell the inmates that, oh, sorry, we ain't got nobody to watch you today, so y'all watch yourselves? No, whoever was there before got to stay. Sometimes they call you on post and they like, hey, don't even come downstairs. You was 5 to 1, now you're 1 to 9. Sorry. So when I would work all these hours every day, I mean, there was times that I didn't even call. Shout out to this captain. I'm not gonna put her on blast. She's not a captain anymore. I know she's moved up in level, and I love her to death. Like I said, we follow each other on Facebook, but I wouldn't even call and say I'm coming downstairs, because what am I coming downstairs for if all you gonna do is tell me that I'm stuck? After a while, I had to, let me tell you something. Working these jobs, and you have to have the right mentality. You gotta change your mindset, because if I felt like, you know, oh, she's picking on me, which she was. She was. She was. And they do this on purpose because they got to make sure that you could, like, work, or, like, you could go through. I don't know. I'm not a captain, so I don't really know what the reason is. But I feel like everything is for a reason. So I never took anything personally. But you got to have the right fucking mindset with everything in life. If you take everything personal, you'll never grow, because it'll always be, oh, woe is me, oh, she's doing this because it's her problem. I had to change my mindset. I had to say to myself, like, I know she's picking on me, but how can I make the best out of this situation for me? How can I let this situation benefit me? I stopped calling. When I was stuck, they never even used to send me a relief. I used to come downstairs at 9 o'clock and they like, Fox, what you still doing? No, you never sent me a relief. They like, why are you still here? You never sent me someone to take my post. So what was I supposed to do? And after my overtime started really accumulating, they like, oh, Fox, you can't stay no more. Why I can't stay? Why I can't stay? Because after you hit a certain cap, they don't want you to get money. They call it getting chicken or getting money. They don't want you to get the money no more. So they start sending you home. Because the old timers, the people that's been there for a long time that know how to jail, they want that overtime money. Because they're at a certain pay, well, that overtime is going to make a difference. That's why you see officers out here, they getting money. Don't get me wrong. Corrections ain't all that it's, wrapped up to be. But if you want money, that's where it's at. You want money? Be a part of the boldest. But you have to have the right mindset. You cannot go into this job or any relationship or anything thinking that, like, you just gonna go in thinking that it's all about you or people hating on you or what. How could you benefit from this situation? And that's when I just realized, like, the 9 to 5, it wasn't for me. I loved what I did after a while. Everybody got to know me. They knew that I was a hard worker. They would send me to the shittiest areas, and I would be able to, again, mindset, maneuver and figure out how to talk to these guys in there. And hopefully none of them ain't watching, where it was like, they playing my games, you play my games right back. So I would sit there, and even though I knew how to play CeeLo, but I would sit there and be like, yo, what kind of game is that? What do you do with that game? Okay, so show me, or whatever. And sometimes some of the captains, they would think that the officers is messing around with the fucking inmates because you have such a good rapport with them and they listen to you. But no, I'm not sleeping with these motherfuckers. I'm just trying to have a peaceful goddamn day. It's called reverse psychology. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to make sure I got home to my kid in one piece, because you can leave out of there hurt, bleeding, leaking, cheek opened down to the white meat. Like, you could get it popping in jail, and it has no name on it. It don't discriminate. Women, men, nurses, doctors, you can get it. It is what it is. So I had to figure out a way, changing my mindset to figure out how I could get through this. And in the beginning, it was stressful. They got this hotline that you could call if you stressed out, and they'll help you out. And I think I might have called twice, but it was because a different captain started picking on me. Like, one captain kind of eased up, and then another one started picking on me because, again, I was doing my job. I got put in a visiting area where a lot of officers, if you're new on the job, they're not going to put you in a visiting area. Visiting area is like you sitting in the president's office and working. It's like you can go out to lunch and ain't nobody, like, that's the type of status that you get when you get working in the visiting area. So they're like, wait a minute, she been on a job for 6 months. It's officers that ain't get to do visits until they pass 5 years. How's she getting there? Who's she sleeping with? I wasn't sleeping with anybody. Right? Truthfully, my nigga was in jail in Virginia. So I wasn't getting it on no sides, okay? At all. If you want to be real with it. My husband, he's now my husband, but at the time when we were dating, he got locked up in Virginia 2 days before I went into the academy. So I didn't even have a spouse at all. We were still talking on the phone. That's another thing. I had to get a trap phone to talk to him, because if you know corrections, they monitor you because they don't want you to mess with these inmates. Let alone, I was messing with my own inmate, but he wasn't my inmate like Riker's inmate. He was the inmate in another state, and he wasn't an inmate when I met him. He was my boy. So once you change your mindset and you realize that, like, everything is capable, everything is accomplishable. Like, you could accomplish so much if you just change your mindset. And that's exactly what I had to do to, like, make shit happen. I had to tell myself every day, go in there, today is gonna be a good day. I'm not gonna get into anything. I'm gonna de-escalate as much as possible. I'm definitely gonna get stuck. I'm not gonna be home to see my daughter before she wake up and before she go to bed, but today's gonna be a good day, and I'm gonna make it happen. And that's what I did every day. They put me in the worst housing area. Shout out to this one inmate. I don't know if y'all remember, if any COs is watching this, or anybody, or if he's watching this, Roy. Anybody remember? I think his name was, I know his last name was Roy. He was so flamboyant. That was my boy, yo. He was an inmate, and he was very flamboyant. But Roy, that's one thing. He had them hands. Like, it used to be the ops and, like, a blood gang would be walking by, going to, like, I don't know, commissary or something. And he used to be shouting on the gate, like, give me some of that. Yeah, let me see. Bend over, let me see. And as rough and as tough as these inmates were, they will fucking keep their head straight. Some of these inmates is in there for robbery, murder. Like, Roy used to be like, yeah, let me see that ass. Like, these inmates would never even, like, they didn't play with Roy. Like, even though they don't mix housing areas and stuff like that. Like, if you trans or bi or gay or whatever, like, they put you separate so that you don't get hurt, because it like I said, it go down. So they put, what is it, like, they categorize them together. So if you're a certain type of gang, they're gonna put you with the gang. If you're whatever you are, they're gonna put you with your con. And they put Roy with other men like Roy. And Roy used to have them other inmates shook. They used to keep their head straight, like, nah, I ain't even gonna look that way. I'm not even gonna entertain this guy. But they put me in his housing area, and he used to also curse out captains. and wardens and deps. And when I mean curse them out, he used to drag them. Now, y'all know flamboyant men. They are the best type to curse a person out. That's one thing I do not want to get into an argument with no flamboyant men, because they will fucking read you a filth. So he used to read these captains. All right, so they didn't even want to walk the housing areas. Some of them still would, because they'd be like, whatever, I don't care. But they wouldn't even want to walk the housing areas. And I got used to him, because all he wanted to do was just talk. Roy was such a good person. He had a good heart. But all he wanted to, and mind you, he was just in there because he jumped the turnstile or something. Like, he did something stupid. Oh no, a matter of fact, somebody caught a burner under his car when he was driving. It was like 3 of them in the car, and there was a burner under his seat from his friend. From what he told me, it was a friend of his. It wasn't his. So that's why he was in there, because nobody wanted to claim it. He said he wasn't claiming it. So he had a good heart. He was a good person. He had like a speech impediment. So, you know, like, people used to joke on him, I guess, growing up. So he developed a tough skin, and he learned how to throw them hands. Because if you know, growing up in New York, we didn't have like this bullying growing up. Like, I'm 40 years old. Like, we didn't have bullying. If somebody cracked on you, you crack jokes back. Like, that's how you develop the hard skin. So at the time, like, I had to figure out how to mentally get into working and figuring out how to maneuver through stressful times. And once I figured out, he just want to talk. He liked to clean, and he just want to talk. So I would wake him up early in the morning. I'd make sure I have like checks, which is what they give them for cereal. And sometimes checks is like cash in there. Like, you get checks, like it's you know, the checks cereal thing is sweet. So they don't really give out sugar and stuff like that. So little things like that, you know, is they appreciate it. So I used to pay them in checks. Like, yo, go clean the tier or go clean all the empty cells, and I'm gonna pay you 5 checks. And they used to do it. And then while they cleaning, I'm standing by the cell, and I'm just letting them talk. So, you know, for me, when I'm mad, when I'm angry, I clean. I put my headphones on and I clean. Or if I'm mad and I got to talk to my best friend, I got to talk to my cousin, I got to talk to somebody, it helps me get through and process what I'm going through. So once I figured that out, I used that to my advantage, and I helped him and he helped me. So once I got through that and I started really soaring in jail and like really helping myself and making my days good, I was like, oh, this is light. This is nothing. I would have never left. Had they never closed that jail, I would still be, y'all wouldn't even be seeing me. I would still be an officer. But they closed the jail, and everything that I had built up in one jail was gone, because I had to now get transferred to another jail. And once I got transferred to that other jail, I had to start over, because now you're in a new facility. Nobody knows you, and jail is jail. Like, you could jail in any housing area because you know how to jail, if you know how to jail. But it was the officers. Like, I had to start all the fuck over again, where they think you sleeping with the fucking inmates, they think you sleeping with the other officers. These officers are sleeping together, and they don't want you sleeping with man that they sleeping with. Mind you, both of them married to somebody else. Like, it was just too much for me, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. Like, even though I had that mindset where, yeah, I could start all over, but then I was like, well, what happens if I get sent to another house? I couldn't control my destiny with the 9 to 5. And that's when I learned that. And I realized that the money was not worth the stress. The amount of money I made in overtime in that year was like double a salary. The money was there. I had it. I didn't want it. That's when I knew a 9 to 5 was not for me, because you couldn't pay me enough to stay in that place. Once I had all my like co-workers that I was cool with, everybody, and I went to a good jail. I went to EMT. EMT is like cream of the crop. I fucking couldn't stand it. I had to leave. I had to leave because I like to work. I like to get up and I like to work, and I like to see what I'm doing make a difference, even if it's in one person. I like to work, and that environment just breeds toxicity. Is that a word? Whatever the fucking word is, that's what it breeds. And I realized that I couldn't do it. And no matter, and mind you, I quit the job, and I didn't even have another job, but I quit, and I knew I had a comp check coming to me, and I knew that I was going to use my funds to invest in myself. And that's exactly what I did. I developed a plan while I was there, and I said to myself, like, yo, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ensure that, and this is the sauce, y'all. I'm giving you the sauce now. I don't see nobody else doing this. Before you leave a position, before you leave a job, have a plan. Have a plan. I seen that officers were getting assaulted by inmates. They were getting comp checks, and a comp check is basically a compensation check, meaning that you got injured on the job. I knew I had a compensation check coming because the inmate had shoved me into the wall and I tore something in my shoulder, and I knew I had a compensation check coming. Now, you could have a comp check coming. It's like a lotto ticket. It's like, for example, y'all might not have a comp check, but you get your taxes, right? You get your taxes every year. Consider your taxes like my comp check. So I got my comp check, and I said, I'm going to buy something that's going to turn around and give me back money. So therefore, I'm going to invest in something that's going to pay me. And what I did was I bought a property. I bought my first real estate property the year that, was it the year I left or the year after? I think it was the year after I left. The reason why I bought it the year after is because I needed to show some type of income, because the house that I was buying was going to be through a FHA loan. So I had a plan. Don't leave your 9 to 5 unless you have a plan, or unless it's really that stressful that you just have to leave. And I get it. But if you can, try to just wait until you have a plan. And that plan might not work, but just have a plan. Have something concrete, where not even because nothing is concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like, but just have some type of idea of what you want to do and start working towards that. So before I left, I knew that first of all, I knew I was leaving. And everybody know when they just had enough at a job. You could feel it. You could feel it in your stomach. You could feel it when you get up in the morning, when your feet hit the ground, that you got to go into this job that you fucking hate. You know when you've had enough, and enough is enough. I knew that I wasn't going to last much longer in that place. I was either going to blow up on an officer or blow up on a captain. I just knew it wasn't for me. But I knew that I had to figure out a plan. So that's what I started doing. I started putting a plan into action. I started looking up investment properties. I started going to seminars. I started figuring out what I was going to do with my money. And once I had my plan down pat, I went over it several times. If you have to get a course, if you got to get a mentor, get it. Just get it. I know a lot of people like, the material is out there, it's free. You can pay to get the information faster. And why spend a year going down a rabbit hole on YouTube and then never making a move when you can pay somebody to teach you how to do it faster? Just pay somebody and do it. But when you pay somebody, do not procrastinate and just sit there. Get your ass up and do what you're paying for. Me personally, I'll be paying for a course that costs way too much money. But it's also a mind game for myself, because if I spent $25,000 on a course, which I have, if I spent $25,000 on a course, my money's not going to waste. So when I spend that type of money, I'm now telling myself, I need to get this money back. And the way I'm going to get it back is by doing what this person tells me to do. So do what you got to do. Don't sit there and procrastinate. If you feel it in your gut that this is not it for you, and you're tired of the 9 to 5, figure out a plan. There are so many other people out there in the world that has done what you're doing now, and they've left, and they've either started their own. Like my friend is a dental hygienist. If she said tomorrow she's tired of her job, she don't never want to work again, she hate it, open your own practice. Just go online, create an ebook or create a course and try to teach people how to become a dental hygienist. Create something of your own. Create a damn video teaching kids how to brush their teeth and something. Like come up with a plan to figure out how to make ends meet on your own. Don't just walk away if you can. If you can hold on for a little while longer and just figure out a way, do that and then leave. Have your exiting plan. Have your exiting day where it's like, today is the day I'm going to, leave my job. Today's the day I'm in 2-3 months, I'm going to walk away from this job. This is what I'm going to do to actually do it. And do it. Don't sit around. The problem, you know what it be? Y'all don't be having faith in yourself. I was bullied majority of my life by family members and shit. So I didn't have anything I didn't care. Like, what was somebody going to say? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was somebody going to say to me? Oh, you failed because XYZ. You got space, sis. Go ahead. You got space. Come more this way. Look, Courtney. She looks so scared. I hate when I see girls that don't know how to drive. Yeah, like I was saying, like, don't be afraid. What's the worst that could happen? Even me getting on YouTube talking about what I've been through, that's intimidating also. But at the same time, like, why the fuck do I care what anybody got to say? I put my business out there anyway. So what you gonna say to me about my business that I haven't already said? What can you say to me? Don't be afraid of what other people have to say. Be afraid of being in the same place that you're in right now a year from today. That's what you really need to be afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of. I can't be in the same place that I was in a year ago. Miss, go. Another scaredy person. Goodness gracious. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of the administration and the government that we're in going every which way and messing up what I have. That's what I'm afraid of. And what I want to be is secure no matter who's in office. That's a flex. That's a real flex. It don't matter who you voted for. You still gonna get this money. And with this type of you working for yourself, you being your own boss, you control your own destiny. You control your own future. And that's how I knew like a 9-to-5 was just not for me. So if you've ever felt that way, or if you feel like, is this really life? Is there anything else more to life? There's more out there. There's more out there. Pick up the phone, pick up your AI, call a friend, ask questions, get out there, meet people. It's more out there in life. So I'm where I need to be, location wise. Like, I'm at my friend's house now, and I will talk to you guys later. Love y'all. Love you later.